Okay, we're going to explain this pretty quickly because this is a review from the last course. So if you need a refresher, the link's below. To achieve this desired screenshot, we need to modify the list so that each list item shows more information. Now, instead of using the simple list item XML layout that's provided by the framework, we'll need to create our own XML layout for a single list item that will contain 3 text views. Now, in order to do this, I created a new layout file called earthquakelistItem.xml. If we go over here to the text view, we can take a look at our XML layout. Now, in this list item file, I have a horizontal linear layout that contains 3 text views. One for the magnitude, one for the location, and one for the date. We don't need to worry about what it looks like now, so I just evenly spaced out all the views using a layout width of 0 dp and a layout weight of 1 for all the children. I also added 16 dips padding on the list item layout so that the list items won't be too short in height. Now if we switch to the design pane, we can see our temporary placeholder data to make sure that the layout looks like the way we want. Next, we add the XML tools namespace to the root linear layout element under the line where we declare the Android namespace. Then we can use the tools:text attribute on each text view and add some placeholder text. What this does is add text that will be shown in the Android Studio preview pane, but not on our phone when we actually run the app. All right, cool. Now our custom list item layout is done. Now we need a Java object to hold all the earthquake information that will be shown in each list item. So now I'll hop back to our earthquake.java file, where we've defined a new earthquake class that represents a single earthquake. Then we've defined 3 global variables of type string, one to hold the magnitude, the location, and the date, because each earthquake has these attributes. Then in the public constructor for the earthquake class, we initialize the 3 member variables based on the values that were passed into the constructor. Since these global variables are private, we need to create public getter methods so that other classes can access this information about the earthquake. Now I'm going to go over to our earthquake activity class, where we can actually create new earthquake objects by calling the constructor that we just created. Now take a note to this line. Instead of creating an array list of strings, I want an array list of actual earthquake objects. Then I created a new earthquake object and then added it to the list, one at a time. Now for each earthquake, I made up some fake values for the magnitude and for the date. Then we had to create our own earthquake adapter, which is customized to display a list of earthquakes. Now we define the earthquake adapter as extending from the arrayAdapter superclass and overriding the getView method so that we can control how the list item views get created. When getView is called, we can check to see if we can use a recycled view. Otherwise, we inflate a new list item layout defined in the earthquake list item XML file. Then we can use the position parameter passed in to get a reference to the appropriate earthquake object from the list of earthquakes. Next, we can start binding the data from the earthquake object to the views in the list item layout. We find each text view in the list based on the view ID and set the corresponding data onto them. Once the list item has the correct data for a single earthquake at the given position, then we can return the view to the caller. The caller in this case is the list view, who will take all these list items and display them on the screen. For a more thorough explanation of list view and adapters, check out the last course, which has a whole lesson on this topic, and the link is located below. So let's go back to our earthquake activity. We can create a new earthquake adapter by passing in the list of earthquakes, and then setting the adapter on the list view. Now let's run it on our device. And this is what it looks like. Cool.